Colby Ag Tech is brought to you by Copperhead Ag Products. Visit copperheadag.com for more information. Last week, Chad Colby gave us a preview of what was to come at the Expo event in Las Vegas. This week, he's got the real deal.
You're right, Mike. We warned you last week that this tech segment was coming. I attended the 2023 Expo show out in Las Vegas this week. And like I told Max when we talked, there's truly nothing like the amount of content in a show like this in North America. It only happens every 3 years. And one of the things you're going to see in this segment is there's so much new technology in agriculture now that I want to tell you is more mainstream. Like you look at these autonomous machines right here and think about the application in agriculture. Putting equipment in places that we really never could before because of the technology. Now, all the major manufacturers had huge announcements. Case unveiled like 35 new machines, but there was one really consistent theme that is completely different than I've ever seen at a show like this, agriculture or construction, and that is the vast amount of equipment that is either fully electric powered or has an electric drivetrain. And I think that should be a little, I don't want to say alarming, but it ought to get everyone's attention in agriculture because for the first time it's coming. And it's coming in every flavor. Whether that's a backhoe, a wheel loader, you're seeing all kinds of drivetrains that are completely different. Or maybe just 2 or 3 years ago, those were in a few machines. Well, now they're in the entire lineup. And some of these displays were incredible, like Caterpillars. You can see the equipment there operating in the background. And they showcased, again, so much machinery that I want to tell you is electrified in some way, shape, or fashion. And it allows the industry to be a lot more mobile than ever. And I think when you start talking about that and thinking about that on your farm or ranch, you need to understand the costs are going to come down. They already have because everyone's doing it. Now look, you see some of the stuff, and yes, that's very futuristic. Don't get me wrong, but the applications are there, especially in terms of keeping that operator safe. And I think that's the thing when you walk around these shows, there's so much technology about the operator. How do we train that operator? How do we educate him to be better? And of course, in a show like this, you're going to see things that you don't get a chance to see very often. And maybe that's the crushing of aggregate, like you see this new impact crusher right here, and certainly all the components and machinery around it to size those aggregates. There's a whole building showing the latest and greatest in that technology as well. And Mike, I know you're like me, pretty excited to see it. The new Big Bud was on display for the very first time in a pre-production model. It had a lot of people looking at that as well. I'll tell you what, this show only happens every 3 years. It's something you might want to put on your calendar in the future.
Thank you, Chad, for that update. This push into electronic drives is going to be interesting to watch. And frankly, I'm glad some other folks are going to be trying it first. Appreciate that update, Chad Colby. Folks, we're not done talking technology in this episode. Later on in the program, we'll do a Tech at Work segment with our friend Willie Vogt. Stay tuned.